Hey y'all, I hope you're well. Welcome to another episode of Healthcare Boulevard. This is a podcast where we shine more light on healthcare, and our goal here is to provide more options to people looking to choose healthcare as a career path, regardless of their background. My name is Sena Kakpomo, and I am your host and creator here. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Remember, you can tune in wherever you get your podcast. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hello, as we will say in French, mes chers compatriotes. We are here. I am back on the mic. Again, another solo episode. I sort of hit you with back to back episodes of me interviewing professionals without sort of going back to the basics as was the format that I was following. And so I wanted to do a couple of steps backward and go back and cover those career options to which I interview professionals but didn't back it up with the basics of how to become the professional and the little kinks that may not have been straight on my interview with the professional. So I think some of those included dentistry, physical therapist, athletic trainer, and of course MRI tech. But I published the MRI tech episode last week or a little over a week ago. And so if you haven't listened to that, go ahead and take a listen. And right now I'm here today for the dentistry backup. So it's going to be a short episode. I've decided to just, for these especially because I'm giving you the links, and I really encourage you to go ahead and do your own research if this is indeed what you want to look into in terms of your career option. Dig into the links, ask more questions on the internet, ask more questions to your connections on LinkedIn or other social media or real life. And I am also here open and willing to be one of your resources in helping you get to the answers you need and want as it relates to a career option you're pursuing or thinking about. I'm more than open to reaching out to folks I've interviewed, even though I don't put their contact info there because, well, privacy. But a lot of time, if not most of the time, when I publish the episode, I tag them on LinkedIn. And so if you were to actually go to my personal LinkedIn or as it is going to be moving forward, the Healthcare Boulevard LinkedIn, you will see that I've tagged folks that I've interviewed, my guests. I've tagged my guests in the post, the quick post that I make on LinkedIn, just, letting my connections and for now that I have a page for Healthcare Boulevard, those following Healthcare Boulevard know that there's another episode. So that's another way to reach out to find somebody, start there as well. Again, I'm here as a resource. I can guide you through it if needed. If you decide that you want to reach out for help or guidance, feel free to do that. I'm more than willing to do that, and more than willing to connect you to folks who are able to answer more questions than I can or should. So let's dive into that. Today is about dentistry. If you are the average American, you've likely gone to the dentist once or twice. Now, here's a funny thing. I'm going to take an African or immigrant take on this because I specifically remember my dad, who is hardcore immigrant, came here at a much older age than I did. I specifically remember saying he never went to the dentist back home. And that's pretty much a norm for some countries. And so for folks who migrated to the U.S. And are born here or per se, may sometimes not go to the dentist as often as those who, are born here and are well assimilated into the American culture and rhythm, so to speak. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have worse oral health, I'll tell you that. So anywho, that's, so this is definitely very at the center, one of the careers or field that American culture uses a lot. Okay, that's the word I'm looking for, is that everybody goes to a dentist at some point in their life. The prescribed frequency is once a year at least, or once every 6 months. Okay, how many people actually follow that? Excuse me. How many people actually follow that? That's debatable. But at some point, we all either need to go to the dentist, which hopefully you are not going when you need to go, right? Much like any other healthcare professional, you want to keep preventative care. Anyways, let me stop there. So we are here today to answer some questions about how to become a dentist. Okay, a little bit about things, answer questions that may help you get a bit more insight into a dentist as a career. So what is a dentist? All right. It's pretty clear. Dentists are the folks who take care of your teeth, your gum. It does go above that. They take care of your jaw and muscles around it, depending of what specialty they are in dentistry, right? The general dentists are those that you're oftentimes coming across with, the average American, in terms of going to the dentist, getting your teeth checked. They get an x-ray of it, make sure you don't have any problems going on. You don't need any root canals or what have you. All of those preventative care and follow-up care are generally done by the general dentist, right? But there are indeed other specialties. So let me dive into word for word. So the responsibilities of the dentist include diagnosing oral disease, promoting oral health and disease prevention, creating treatment plans to maintain or restore the oral health of their patients, interpreting x-ray and diagnostic tests, ensuring the safe administration of anesthetics, monitoring growth and development of the teeth. Sorry, the TH sound is still one of my weaknesses in the English language. But the teeth and jaws, performing surgical procedures of the teeth, bone, soft tissue of the oral cavity. Okay. Now, again, dentistry is not just that. It also includes the head, some depending on the specialty of dentistry. They can deal with the head, the neck, the jaw, the tongue, salivary gland, the nervous system of the head and neck, and other areas. So the teeth and the gum and the mouth, that's generally where we are going to them, the majority of people. But depending on what your needs are, you may need a specialized dentist. Okay, so that's that on what a dentist does. Now, let's dive a little bit into the different specialties of dentistry. And so, depending on the specialty, I'll go into how to become a dentist very soon. But depending on the specialty of dentistry, the number of years of residency is different, right? So let's look at some specialties, for example. So dental public health is 1 to 2 years, right? Endodontist sorry, endodontist, that's 2 to 3 years. Oral health and maxillofacial pathology. Oh, I said that like a queen. Okay. Let me try not to do it again though. That's why when I put up myself. Their residency is usually 3 years. So it depends. I'm not gonna sit here and read the whole thing. I will tell you though that the specialty with the most years in residency is oral and maxillofacial surgery, which you can understand. You're doing surgery it's a lot more. You don't want anybody cutting into you who haven't had tons of training. So that's that on the education. On what a dentist does and what a dentist does and the different facets of dentist, different specialties. Now, how to become a dentist. I'll share this link with you, which goes into details and nuances of the whole thing, but I will give you a quick summary because much like different advanced practitioners or doctors, there's not much of a difference, right? You go to high school, once you're done with high school, you get your bachelor's degree. Again, much like other things like PA and doctors, doctor school, medical school. It's not required. You don't need to major for your undergrad, right? Your BS or BA doesn't have to be in any specific majors, but you do have to meet certain prerequisite courses. So a lot of times it's recommended that you major in something that already require those courses, aka a lot of people will major in biology, chemistry, and so forth. Even public health. I did public health, and that was sufficient for my prerequisites for PA school, which a lot of time these schools require. The courses are much similar but not the same. Okay, by no means. I know there are some requirements for medical school that were not required for PA school, and some requirements for PA school that were not necessarily required for nursing school, but the gist of it is much the same because you're learning about the human body. Okay, so you can bet you will find anatomy and physiology on any healthcare list you find, especially advanced practitioners and so forth. So anyways, so that's that. So you get your bachelor's degree in whatever you want. If your bachelor's degree does not require you to take the prerequisite courses into entrance to dentist school, then of course you go ahead and take those courses in addition to your bachelor's degree. There is an entrance exam which called is the DAT dental admission test, I believe it's called. And that is like the GRE for a lot of master's degree or what have you. It's an entrance exam. It's pretty straightforward. So you need that. You need to do well in that. Get your bachelor's degree. Pay attention to your science courses and make sure you do well in your science courses. A lot of places, a lot of programs, whether it's dentist or PA or medical school, require specific GPA for sciences. They might be like, entrance GPA is 3.3, but science GPA must be 3.5 or something along those lines. So just make sure your science GPA is as best as it could be. Again, much like a lot of these things, it's best to shadow dentists, work in a dental office, volunteer if you want to. Another way to do all of that and still making a little bit of money to support yourself in those years before you go to dentist school, and depending on who you are, even while you're in dentist school, is to do dental assistance. Again, we had an interview on dental assistant for a little while back, and so that's another option for you. So whatever you do, however the road takes you, the path takes you, and I know that is different for everyone. It really depends on when you start planning to become a dentist. Not everybody starts knowing and wanting and to be a dentist or whatever career they choose in high school or even college for that matter. And so that road is totally different, but that's a general requirement to get into dentist school. Is a test, bachelor's prerequisites. Of course, some hands-on experience will help, and then you apply to dentist school. It says somewhere here that most people apply to 5 to 15 dentist schools, while in their application form. So I know I did 9 for my PA school. Yeah, I did 9. Folks have done 15, even higher. Again, it's odds, it's a numbers game at some point. After you've done what you need to do and can do, it becomes a numbers game. You just throw your hats in the ring as many times as you can, and sit back and hope for the best. Now there are, and I specifically made sure to look at this, that even though most schools do require a bachelor's degree, there are some schools that do not require a bachelor's degree, and I will put the link on here for schools that do not require a bachelor's degree. I'll give you an example of those. University of Iowa College of Dentistry is one. University of Maryland School of Dentistry. Oh wow, interesting. I actually have a friend of mine in there right now, and I actually interview her for the dentist. Never mind. I do have a friend of mine in there right now, but she's not the one I interviewed. I'm sorry. Anywho, University of Nevada. Oh, okay. Touro College of Dentists. Oh, Touro is one of those that seem to have a college for every healthcare professional. Anywho, so I'll share the link with y'all, and if you are interested in that aspect of not having to get a bachelor's degree, you can look at those schools and specifically target these schools. I don't know that there are schools that don't require the DAT. There might be. Again, anything that is your challenge, you can find out everything on the internet. So you dig in, do the research, talk to people, get the pros and cons and so forth. All right, so the next thing we talk about what a dentist does, how to become a dentist. Let's talk about and a little bit about the setting of dentistry. It really depends, right? If you're an outpatient, then you're in clinic, and a lot of time that will be the general dentist, or those putting on braces and so forth. But if, for example, you are a surgical dentist, then you're likely work in the hospital, or at least you may have a clinical aspect and a hospital aspect. So the setting really depends on your specialty and where you're needed. So in terms of workplace and setting, it depends. In terms also of schedule and what have you, that's another one of those that I barely even address in these episodes, because it really depends in healthcare, or really anything. But we are focused on healthcare here on this podcast. Now let's talk about money. Let's talk about money, because money matters. So how much do dentists make? On BLS, as y'all know, I love BLS.gov, they give an estimate of $164,000 a year and $78 an hour. In terms of the growth, job outlook, it's about 8%, which is as fast as the average. Of course, you need a doctorate degree, but that's where you're going to dentistry. Once you're done with dentist school, you're a doctor of dentist, right? It's a doctorate program. It's a doctorate degree. There's no, if you want a postdoctorate education, you can do that. But once you're done with the program successfully, you are a doctor. I did forget one thing, and that is once you're done with the program, much like everything else we've covered thus far, you need to pass your certification exam. Their exam comes in two parts. There's a written part, and then there is a live / oral part, right, where you go in and it's not just you sitting down on the computer and choosing multiple choice. So they have two parts in that, but it's only after you pass those two, of course, that you are now certified and able to work as a dentist and practice as a dentist. Okay, now I just give you the salaries for just dentists in general. Now I'll give you a bit of a difference in salary depending on the specialties, just to give you an idea. So, type of dentist. So, oral and maxillofacial surgeons. Those are one of the most paid one, and they are best paid one, and that's $208,000. Yeah, $208,000. Orthodontist, same thing. Prothodontist, $176. Dentists, the general dentists, the ones you likely see in office and so forth, or $151, and then other specialties $146. So it really depends, and I'm sure this, again, I always give this warning sign here, but these numbers are averages, they're median numbers, or what have you. The price will depend the cost, I mean, not the cost, your salary as a dentist would depend on where you're working in terms of geographic location, the need at the time, your level of experience, because the dentists today are likely not getting paid the same amount as dentists 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago. So it depends. And likely that won't be the case 10, 20, 15, 50 years from now. And of course, it depends on your specialty, as we just saw. So don't take these numbers to heart. So that is the general sense of what I'm wanting to talk about today. Of course, once again, if you want more experience as a dentist and so forth, again, go ahead, talk to local dentists. If you have friends of a family or friends of parents or what have you who are dentists, go ahead and talk to them. I'm sure they will be happy to help, like most folks are, to talk about the profession and help the next generation in that profession. Other than that, I am going to end this here. Again, I'm going to make it a short episode, and if you haven't already, check out the new Healthcare Boulevard pages that I made on LinkedIn and on IG. Those are the main ones. And right now I'm getting more on the LinkedIn, because again, I have more of a LinkedIn presence than IG presence, and I'm building the IG page from scratch, which is like, everybody's on IG now out there. So but anyhow, check it out. If you are a listener, I would love to hear from you, interact. I really would like to interact with you guys and hear what you think of the podcast. Is it helpful? And again, share with those you think will benefit. I really want to reach anyone and everyone who may benefit from this information, and especially those who are in high school or community colleges or what have you. That's one place that a lot of time we're still trying to figure out our career. Even people in getting their bachelor still on that page, but there's a lot more of us unaware of what we want to do and really questioning what we want to do in our career path in high school, middle school, community colleges, and so those are really all the folks that I'm trying to get this to, so they really know the information that's out there. Anywho, that's it. Y'all have a beautiful week. I'm going to go ahead and publish this right away, because I don't think there's much editing that needs to be done. That was one of my goals today, is to try to talk as smoothly as possible, so I didn't have to do much editing out my shenanigans. On that note, I will go. Have a blessed week, y'all. Alright, that's all I have for you today. Thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you. Please subscribe, follow, like, comment, and share. And stay blessed. Bye.